Welcome to the LSI Behind the Wind podcast. I'm Lauren Lane. For 50 years now, the LSI team has dedicated themselves to the science of business development. We've seen the impact of our work and how it's evolved into economic development and now social impact work. This week, Sean and I are so excited to share this special 50th episode with all of you. Throughout the duration of our podcasting time, we've talked a lot about our specific capabilities and the unique facets of our business, and we thought for our 50th episode, we'd tie them all together so you can see the big picture. We love what we do, and we love that we have a medium to share our stories and knowledge and provide advice for professionals in the business and government consulting industries and individuals everywhere. Thank you for your continued support, and thank you for following along so far. We hope you keep tuning in.
Welcome to this special edition of the Behind the Wind podcast. I was asked by our production team to talk about the company in this 50th episode and 50 years of the company. And so this is going to be a monologue of me talking about the company as if I was talking to a new or prospective client and my story and the company's capabilities. So bear with me as I go through this, and I think it'll be an interesting episode where we pull together a lot of the company's capabilities and connect some of these dots. Over the previous 50 episodes, we've talked about each of the disciplines and a lot of the business units within LSI. What I'm going to do is give a corporate overview of the company and our capabilities. The company was founded in 1972, 50 years ago, and there were 5 original principles of the company. The company did very well for a lot of years, focused primarily on business development disciplines around some of the disciplines today that we have really developed and turned into a science. And that includes capture, proposal development, and program execution, which I'll talk about. I joined the company in 1992 and acquired the company from the original 5 principles. From there, I built a strategy where we would establish a presence at every DoD and FedCiv entity across the United States. And while we were doing that, we were also building out these practice areas around this business development capability. We established offices and a presence on site across the U.S. at 80 locations and have been very successful in developing a capability and understanding, unlike any other company in the world, at each of these DoD and FedCiv entities. And it really has set us up for the success that we have seen, especially over the last few years, where so much of the federal spending is emanating from these various organizations, especially the FedCiv organizations, that where we already have this on-site presence and a subject matter expertise within these organizations. We were well prepared for the significant changes that happened, especially over the last few years. As I said, in addition to establishing a strategy around an on-site presence at every DoD and FedCiv agency in the U.S., we also build out our practice areas and built an incredible capability in what we call capture, which is looking at the opportunity, understanding what our clients' capabilities are and marrying that together to grow our clients' business. We start with market analysis and research and our relationships with the decision makers within each of these organizations. And it's different within each entity. Each agency has its own methodology for acquisition and fulfilling their various requirements. And then even within the individual agencies, a lot of the organizations, the offices, have their own way of doing business. And so it's so critical that there is this on-site presence and a personal relationship with the decision makers where we can understand what their needs are, educate them on our clients' capabilities, build a proposal and a solution around this requirement or challenge, and then execute it to that. And I told our senior leadership team last week, interestingly, that I put this strategy together in the early 1990s, and we still use a lot of that strategy today. It still is recognizable, even though our company has grown exponentially. So that's what we call capture. We have separated capture and proposal development out between these two disciplines for a lot of reasons. But what we found early on was that there is a different science to capture and market development and the relationships with the customer versus the proposal development. All of that feeds into the proposal development practice, but we decided strategically that we would separate the two, and I think it's been very successful. It's really led to this incredible success that we have had over the years in winning proposals. There's very few proposals that we manage and orchestrate where we lose. And the reason for that is that we have such a great connection with the customer up front. We understand what the customer's requirements are, how he or she is going to evaluate these proposals, and what their criteria for evaluation is, that can then be fed into the proposal team, and they in turn then build these incredible winning proposals. Oftentimes, our relationships with the agency, with the decision maker on site, is such that we can work collaboratively to build the requirements and help shape the RFP. Obviously, when the RFP comes out and it's shaped for our clients and this is recognizable, it's easy for the proposal development team to then take a lot of the competitive intelligence and the capture work that we did up front and incorporate that into the proposal, into the winning proposal. Our proposal team is so vast and unique. And what I think has been fun in building out this practice over the last 30 years is that we have pulled in some really interesting personalities. As I said, that the capture discipline and personality is so different from the proposal development personality and science. And even within the proposal development practice, we have these very unique disciplines and personalities that include proposal managers and writers. We have incredible graphic artists and pricing, desktop publishing, and production, and every one of these subject matter experts, including subject matter experts around the requirement itself have a unique role in contributing to these winning proposals. When I first started with LSI in 1992, our proposal teams looked so differently. Most of our work was not done digitally. Most of the proposals were still typewritten, and our graphics teams were actual artists that would come in and paint or draw these various illustrations within the proposal. I mean, it's so different now. But what I think is, so I look back on it, what is still similar is the discipline that we have instilled in our team to build these winning proposals. And they just are so good at what they do that, like I said, our win rate's extremely high. We rarely lose a proposal, especially when we've done the capture work and the strategy up front, and then have the opportunity to work the proposal development. The other thing that's so different today in the proposal work is it used to be that a lot of these proposals were 1,000 pages or more. We've done a 10,000 page proposal before. Today, most of our proposals are 30 pages. So it is so critical that the relationship that occurs at the capture phase is really the conduit for the response to the 30 pages that the proposal development team works using that relationship and the market data that came from the capture team. And within our proposal group, we will do turnkey proposals, meaning that a lot of times our clients will hand us the RFP and say, build us the proposal, build a winning proposal where we do everything, including pricing. We also work collaboratively with our clients where we may be the proposal manager, or we may provide a writer or subject matter expert or work the pricing. Oftentimes our clients will bring us in to work color teams, meaning we will help in taking sections of the proposal, whatever that might be, or looking at the compliance or providing consulting around improving the content of the proposal to ensure that it's a winning proposal. So with our proposal support for our clients, we are working complete turnkey proposals or participating at every stage or providing subject matter experts in whatever discipline may be required to build a winning proposal, including the requirement itself. We recently worked a really great engagement with a client where the client brought us in once the proposal had been written and asked us, because we had such depth and long-term relationships with the decision makers of the proposal, the client asked us to review the proposal as if we were the customer. And they won this proposal as we figured that they would, but it really was a unique role beyond red team. It was beyond a red team review that had already happened. They had already gone through all of the color teams, including red team, gold team. They brought us in then and said, okay, we think this is a winning proposal. We want you to read the proposal as if you were the customer, and made a lot of changes that we believe positioned our client to win this business. And then finally, our program execution group is really everything that happens post-award. So any of the contract management or program management or execution itself, we are adept, and it's a large part of our business is providing program management or contract management what we call program execution in this discipline, anything that happens post-award. And some other examples of this include things like work around DCAA audit or DCMA audit or DCMA buy-off. We do a lot of work with contract teams and helping interface with engineering and providing engineering change orders or price changes based on changing requirements. So this team is really versatile in helping to ensure that our clients provide the best product or service as promised in the proposal to the customer, and oftentimes they will delegate or contract with us on interfacing with the customer for them in terms of any kind of post-award technical requirement, subject matter expertise, contract management, program management. So those three primary practice areas or business units are what the company was built around. It is still a significant part of our business. We still have a huge amount of capture work, proposal development engagements, and program execution engagements. And we do strategy and work some of the sub-disciplines within each of these practice areas. What was unique about our business that happened nearly 20 years ago was we were working with a large client, a large Fortune 500 client. And most of our business for the first 20 or 30 years of the company's history came from large or at least medium-sized companies that were pursuing multi-million or billion-dollar contracts. This company was located in Michigan. They were pursuing a large Army contract. It was a $38 billion Army contract that they brought us in to work all of the strategy, the capture, the proposal development. Eventually, we did work the program execution side of it as well. What I didn't realize at the time, and I was very involved with this client, I was out there a lot. We had about 20 people on site for nearly 2 years working all of the elements to ensure that this company won this contract, which they did. So I was there a lot, interfacing with the client, ensuring that our team had what they needed. I remember the client telling me, if we lose this contract, our corporation's going to shut us down and we have to win this. And I've heard that a lot over the years. And we approach all of our work as if it was vital to the careers and the jobs of our client. I mean, that's how seriously we take every one of our engagements. I remember him saying, this is so critical to the corporation, but really for me, I'll be fired if we lose this contract, and all of the employees in this division will lose their job as well. And I think they had about 2,000 people that were working within this division. Our team was amazing, and they put together a winning strategy, a winning capture plan, and a winning proposal, and they won this contract. And it was so transformational at the time that our client immediately went out and hired 3,000 people to work this new contract. It was transformational for the region of Detroit where this group was located, that it impacted 3 counties, Macomb, Oakland, and Wayne County. It was so transformational for the state that the governor of Michigan at the time connected with us and said, this was incredible and we want to have you replicate this work with other companies in the northern Detroit area. And we did. And we still have a a similar contract to this day with the state of Michigan that was precipitated from this win that we had with our client. But what happened at that time was it really changed the trajectory of our company, where we had a lot of visibility at that time around this work. And going into the recession that started around 2007 and 2008, this economic development work just snowballed. And we started working with multiple states, multiple municipalities, replicating what we were doing. And each of these programs was a little different. It really started with, come in and create jobs for us in a region, and over time started becoming defined around what their strengths. And we forged a lot of this up front, where we would help these organizations within an area, whether it was a federal, state, or municipal entity that was contracting with us for this economic development. We would help in creating analysis that would consider what did the labor force look like, what was some of the historical industry strengths. I can remember having a meeting with the governor's office and a lot of the decision makers around economic development in northern Detroit, and they were all surprised when our team came back and said, we are going to build revenue, tax base, and jobs in the manufacturing industry. And I think that a lot of them felt like, oh my goodness, we've spent so much of the last 100 plus years in the auto industry, which is because we were so concentrated in this industry, it's been a weakness for us. They also had an incredible capability. We started diversifying around aerospace and defense and medical and software development and some other industries utilizing their core capabilities. And we did that in other places like Baltimore and Atlanta and Sacramento and other large regional areas. We built an incredible program in the state of Oklahoma where the primary focus was diversifying the oil and gas industry into light manufacturing, primarily in rural Oklahoma, working with the governor's office in Oklahoma. And so this work really evolved from a win out of the business development methodology that we still use today, this 50-year LSI business development methodology. And it has spawned this entire industry around economic development and building ecosystems around a vertical market. It was interesting to see a lot of these organizations that we worked with for years, where initially they would say, we don't care what kind of jobs they are, just bring in any jobs. And we showed these organizations why it was so critical to develop clusters or ecosystems in a region, and that you would build upon that and create these supply chains in these regional areas around a vertical market, like aerospace and defense, like IT and software, cyber, advanced power and energy, and so many of these various ecosystems that we had developed over time. And that's really how that started. One day I was with our team, and we had to, like in with a lot of state programs or programs that are funded through appropriations, we were testifying before a legislature on our work, and it was incredible. It was one of our a big year. We were before this legislature. Our team asked me to come and be there with them as they testified on the floor of the legislature. And afterwards, the legislature was clapping, and it was just this really incredible, proud moment for our team and for me to see this happen. And we built this out of nothing from the ground up. And I think that year we had captured or created 12,000 new high wage jobs that year. And this executive who I'd known previously pulled me aside and he said, what you're doing to create jobs is amazing. It is remarkable. I have some money and I want to have you look at creating jobs for individuals who are hard to employ. And I was surprised by this. And he worked with our team in initially creating a program that was focused on unemployed veterans. And we built this incredible program where we would create jobs. There were 5,000 unemployed veterans that this organization knew and had names and had their history. We created these huge blocks of jobs for these veterans, and we learned so much. And I was, as our team will tell you, I was so reluctant to take on this work because I knew it was going to be highly visible. I knew that it was going to be emotional. I knew it was going to be difficult. And our team built this strategy where they found these creative ways of winning new business for companies, and many of them were our clients at the time who we had this trust and history with. We would win this business contingent upon them allowing us to place these individuals into these jobs that we had created. That was the easy part. The difficult part was working with the individuals who had been out of the workforce for a long time, that had a lot of social challenges and addicted to multiple substances and had PTSD. And there's so many of these challenges. And as we built this program and created a conduit for these individuals who had served our country so remarkably, we built a whole science around what we now call social impact. We were, I think, in a lot of ways, I think we were lucky that and fortunate to have this opportunity, especially with this demographic that allowed us to see a very complex demographic. Interestingly, the next one of our social impact programs was TANF. And TANF stands for Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, TANF, TANF. To be TANF eligible, you must be 200% below the poverty level with at least one child in the home. That was our next social impact contract. That also gave us an incredible experience where we learned a lot about working with a complex demographic. Most of these individuals were women between the ages of 16 and 25 that had at least one child. Many of them had multiple children still in the home. Many of them were infants, and they had typically no education beyond a sophomore education. Many of them had never been in the workforce and had no skills. And our team worked with these individuals just like they did with the veterans and created a process and a program where we were building large blocks of jobs specifically for these individuals and then placing these individuals into these new jobs that we had created and working with them to create a career path. And many of these TANF eligible individuals are still doing amazing things after all of these years. And it led to the work that we're doing today in social impact that is focused on every demographic that you can think of: Native Americans, Alaskan Natives, high school dropouts. We're still doing a lot of work with veterans and military spouses. We're very interested in this demographic that we've called intergenerational poverty, where 2 or more generations have been on public assistance and have not been in the workforce. And we're working with these individuals to create high-wage jobs and a career path where they are migrating off of public assistance for the first time in generations. We're focused on now linking together what started as this focus on geography, an area of economic development, a industry or cluster around manufacturing or IT or software development or whatever it is, and linking this third piece, the demographic, within the geography and within the industry itself. And it's working. It's incredible. What we had never could have predicted this current state and a lot of the work that we're doing now around the IIJA, which is this $1.6 trillion investment in infrastructure, investment in jobs, which is also very focused on demographics. One of the stipulations of this bill, when it was passed in November of 2001 and then ratified in February of 2022, one of the stipulations both the White House and the Congress included in this investment is that at least 40% of this funding must go to benefit disenfranchised individuals. And it was loosely defined what a disenfranchised individual is. So over the last 30 years, our team has built this strategy around capture, proposal development, and program execution. We've established locations at over 80 DoD and FedCiv agencies that now have the funding that has been pushed from the Congress to the Treasury to all of these various agencies. We have relationships and are embedded within each of these agencies. We have built these economic development processes and strategies from small municipalities to multi-state and interstate regions where we are able to build upon these ecosystems around the economic development and then adding into this social impact work that we have been doing now for many years, creating jobs specifically for a demographic. It really was all of the planets aligning for us to be the only company in the US that have had the experience and capability to take this on. And that's why we are so entrenched and focused on capturing this IIJA funding for states and municipalities, for building a generational projects around every transportation and infrastructure and water and clean energy and all of the various requirements mandated by the White House and the Congress. It's been fun to see this come together, especially over the last 2 years, where we were uniquely positioned as the only company to work with federal, state, and municipal entities on these projects, to work with universities and higher ed institutions to help them capture funding, and working with the private sector and nonprofits to ensure that the best solution for these projects are married together, building strategy around geographical and demographic areas throughout the U.S. that we're seeing. This is such an opportunity today to really change what has happened, the challenges associated with inner city blight, with rural infrastructure and jobs, and this revitalization of the U.S. It's been remarkable, and to be a part of that, I feel like it's been an opportunity to be a part of history unlike anything that I've seen in my career. And so that is really the connecting all of the dots that these previous 50 episodes have addressed in LSI's capabilities. I touched a little bit on our history, but why we are so excited about the things that we're doing and our own internal pipeline and the types of clients, government and private sector clients, that we're working with throughout the United States and even internationally as well. It's been absolutely my honor and privilege to lead this amazing company and work with such incredible, talented, creative individuals. Every morning I get up and I'm excited to go to work every morning, and I can't believe the incredible projects and impact that we're having in helping companies grow and impacting the economics in a region, and the incredible legacy work that we have done with various demographics throughout the U.S. It has been the most fulfilling and just incredible experience for me personally, and to watch this happen, and it's exceeded everything that I could have ever imagined when I took over leading this company 30 years ago this year. So I hope this has been helpful. I want all of our people to know how much I've appreciated and loved working with all of you over the last 30 years. I want our clients to know I have had such an incredible experience and have met so many amazing people that have trusted us to solve their most challenging requirements and help them achieve their objectives, whatever that is, whether it's the work that we've done in California with the Department of Defense, with all the Fed Civ agencies. It's just been an incredible journey, and I'm excited for our next 50 episodes of Behind the Wind, and I'm excited for the next 50 years of our company's history. I think it's going to be remarkable. So thank you for listening, and get excited for our next episode, number 51. It's going to be good.